So I was at a walk-to-walk place, a place. I felt a bit hungry, and I went there to have a meal. It was quite late, and what I noticed, I was waiting to place my order. What I noticed was that the cook, he noticed me, and after a couple of minutes, he asked me, "What would you like to order?" So that was very kind, and I placed my order. Immediately, the manager came to him, put his hand on his back or his shoulder, and it started being degrading to him. He started saying things in a language I could not understand, but he was being aggressive towards him. And you could see that this guy, he was going, like, he was getting smaller because of it, because of the conversation. And then a manager came to me and he asked me what I wanted to eat. So I placed my order to him. And I asked him what the conversation was about. Sorry. I asked him what the conversation was about, and he was clearly very angry at the cook. And he said, what was... I said to him that it was okay, it was not a problem, and nothing needed to be fixed. But he was having such an urge inside to do something against this cook. So I said to him, he told me, yeah, he has two hands, he cannot do two things at once, he just has two hands. And I asked him, what if it's the other way around? What if he is creating great service because he understands and he feels that a client is waiting and he is already there? So maybe your cook is thinking with you and not against you. And he could not really relate to it. And I said thank you for the order. And we had a good smile towards each other, so it was okay, it was fine. I had my dinner, and while I'm eating my dinner, he's doing the same thing again. So he is demeaning the cook again. And I could recognize it. I recognize it from many situations where people are not aware on how they are abusing each other. People are not aware how they are abusing each other. So again, I was not really concentrating. I wanted to read my book, but I was seeing it in the corner of my eye, and I looked up, and he was being angry, degrading, putting his hand on his shoulder again, making him very small. The cook took it very good. He took it very good. He stayed calm the whole time, but you could see it in his face. His eyes were swollen, his face was, he was wearing a mask because he was not able to be himself in this small kitchen where he was working with this manager that was constantly looking at every step he was taking. So he was being angry, degrading again. And I could feel how the energy was changing in the kitchen, in the whole restaurant. And because I always see these kind of things happening around me or on the streets, or I was thinking, okay, am I going to say something or not? Or am I going to go home or not? Because for me it has no use to say anything, you know, it has no, but I can't help it. So I paid for the meal. I went back to the manager and the cook and I asked, do you both speak English? They said yes. So I started speaking and I said, many times we are not aware of the habits that we have, or maybe that we choose, because we choose them because we do not know any other ways. can I give you some feedback? And he said yes. So that was really, really great. I'm on the side of the street. It's a bit silly place, but okay. So I asked him, can I give you some feedback? He said yes. I said okay. Many times we are not aware on how we react on each other, on how we create suffering around us. So the way we are speaking now is towards each other, so me and a manager, is different. It's from a different level than the way you spoke to your cook. And I'm sorry, I don't mean this in a negative way. I don't want to give any negative impulses in this evening, but the way you spoke to your cook was in a demeaning way. And again, I'm sorry for using this word. Many times we do this because we need to feel something inside of ourselves. We need to feel something inside of our hearts. We need to feel something. Maybe we need to feel our feet. You know, maybe we need to feel the power in our feet. And sometimes we use habits to create this kind of power in our feet. And at the same time, I keep noticing my bike because it's standing here. And at the same time, this does not create partnership. So what I see from your cook is that he is thinking with you. He's thinking further and he's thinking with you. He is noticing that there's a client standing over there. She's waiting, and he understands that if he's helping her, things can go on. So maybe if you see it from the perspective that he is thinking with you, maybe it is a different way then. So to create partnership, you have to be aware of what kind of tools you use. What are the things that you use in your toolbox? And do they really create partnership, or do they create a sense of power? A sense of power to create a kind of happiness for you, or to set some kind of boundaries maybe for you, or to get out some anger. But does this really create a partnership and a friendship that you want around you? So the things that I coach people in are ways that people use on each other. Actually, types of abuse in communication, in habits, in places where we are still unaware. I think there are places that are aware of this and they use these skills. But they don't always use these skills in the right way. So there is awareness in the world about this, about these kind of things. So, but many people cut their knowledge. Many people cut their knowledge because they keep it for themselves, because it is money. It is money. And that is what goes around in the world of coaching. People keep their information for themselves and they cut it in small pieces because it is money. In this case, I had a bit of a conversation with a guy, and I asked him, maybe you can sit down with your cook and have a cup of tea together to see what is a good way for you together to function in this small tiny kitchen. He was even marking his cook by composing his movements and by how do you you say, he was copying his behavior. He was doing a bit with the pans, and he was marking him as if the cook was dreaming and looking outside and just using the pans a bit. This was not the case. He was a good cook, and he did his job in a really, really, really good way. So this was not the case. It was just a way of this manager to feel his power. And I told him, this was in Dutch, I told him sometimes we need to feel the hero inside of us, and we do this in the wrong way. So portraying a person as if he is dumb or slow or small is never the way to be the hero in your own life.